Kenneth Erskine, born the 1st of July 1963, is a British serial killer who became known as the Stockwell Strangler. He committed the murders of 7-11 senior citizens in London between April and July 1986. Early life. Erskine was born in Hammersmith on the 1st of July 1963 to a British mother and Antiguan father. Erskine has 3 brothers. He was abandoned by both parents during childhood and attended various special schools. His parents divorced when he was 12. It was said that he sometimes read the Bible as a child. On a field trip, he tried to drown his peers, and he became more violent as he grew up. He eventually became homeless. Crimes. Erskine's criminal career began with a number of burglaries. He was able to open 10 separate bank accounts with the proceeds of his crimes. Erskine served time in Feltham. During 1986, Erskine murdered at least 7 elderly people, breaking into their homes and strangling them. Most often they were sexually assaulted. The crimes took place in London. His first victim was Nancy Eames, 78, of Wandsworth, who died on the 9th of April 1986. Her death was initially believed to have been due to natural causes, and declared as such by her doctor on her death certificate. It was only established that she had been murdered when her home help noticed that her television set was missing from her flat. A post-mortem examination revealed that she had been raped and strangled. His second victim was Janet Cockett, 67, who died on the 9th of June 1986 after being strangled in her flat on the Wandsworth housing estate, on which she was chairwoman of the Tenants Association. Her death was initially thought to have been from natural causes. She had not been sexually assaulted. A post-mortem showed that she had been murdered. Erskine's palm print was found on a window at Cockett's flat. He later broke into the residence of an elderly man, but Erskine abandoned his burglary when a noise disturbed him enough to make him flee. On the 28th of June 1986, Erskine claimed his third and fourth victims, both Polish men, at a residential home in Stockwell. His 2 Polish victims were pensioners, one of them a World War II veteran, Valentine Gleim, 84, and Zbigniew Strapawa, 94. Both men were sexually assaulted and strangled. Erskine's 5th victim was William Carmen, 84, of Islington. He stole money from Carmen's flat before molesting him and strangling him in an attack on the 8th of July 1986. He claimed his 6th victim on the 21st of July 1986, when he committed a similar fatal attack on 74-year-old William Downs in a Stockwell bedsit. The final victim was Florence Tisdall, an 83-year-old widow who lived on her own at Ranelagh Gardens Mansions in Fulham. She was strangled and raped. She was found dead by the caretaker on the morning of the 23rd of July 1986. Erskine was arrested on the 28th of July 1986 at a Social Security office. Police were then able to match his palm print to one left at one of the murder scenes, and he was identified in a police lineup by 74-year-old Fred Prentice, who claimed Erskine tried to strangle him in his bed a month before police apprehended him. Investigation and trial. A homeless drifter and solvent abuser, Erskine was in his early 20s when he committed the crimes. Erskine's burglary convictions before and during this killing spree meant that his fingerprints and photographs were on police records. Police had identified Erskine as the perpetrator during his killing spree. He was convicted of 7 murders. During his trial, he was seen to be masturbating. Police suspected Erskine of 4 other murders. These include the murder of Wilfred Parks, aged 81, at Stockwell, on the 2nd of June 1986, and Trevor Thomas, aged 75, at Lambeth, on the 21st of July 1986, but did not find sufficient evidence to charge Erskine with these crimes. It was clear to the police that all these attacks were the work of one man. There were no signs of forced entry, with every indication that the intruder had gained access through an unsecured window. In each case it appeared that the killer had knelt on the victims' chests, and then placed his left hand over their mouths whilst he used his right hand to grip their throats and strangle them to death. In addition, 4 of the victims had been sodomized, although there was some uncertainty as to whether this had taken place before or after death. Erskine was found guilty of 7 murders in January 1988 and sentenced to life imprisonment with a recommended minimum term of 40 years, but has since been found to be suffering from a mental disorder within the meaning of the Mental Health Act 1983. In 1988 he was transferred from prison under sections 47-49 of the Mental Health Act 1983 to the maximum security Broadmoor Hospital and has been held there since then. He is unlikely to be freed until at least 2028, when he will reach the age of 65. Some 30 years after the killings, the trial judge's recommendation is still one of the most severe ever handed out in British legal history. A report by Horne dated the 17th of March 2006 refers to an assessment of Erskine in September 2004. Horne concludes that, at the time of the assessment, Erskine had chronic schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder, and that this had probably been the case since March 1980. In July 2009, following an appeal, Erskine's murder convictions were reduced to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. Incarceration on the 23rd of February 1996, Erskine saved the life of fellow serial killer Peter Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe was attacked in his room in Broadmoor Hospital's Henley ward by Paul Wilson, a convicted robber, who asked to borrow a videotape before attempting to strangle him with the cable from a pair of stereo headphones. Erskine and convicted murderer Jamie Devitt intervened on hearing screams. See also gerontophilia. References